Hello, my name's Sanjay Jhawar and I'm the co-founder and president at Realwear. I'm delighted to be able to talk to you today about collaboration using hands-free assisted reality. So before we get into the slide presentation, I just wanted to be able to show you the Realwear HMT1, which is our flagship head-mounted device. Here it is. This is a head-mounted Android computer that's monocular with a single opaque display that's really designed for industrial workers. And it's in this category of assisted reality. When I look into the small display here, what I see is a 7-inch tablet about arm's length away. And I can look over it and maintain direct eye contact, and I have my full situational awareness and peripheral vision. I can even move this display out of the way whenever needed. This device is 100% hands-free. It's able to be controlled just with my voice and a few small head motions. And it can be completely driven in that mode, even in noise levels of 95 to 100 decibels. This is a very widely deployed device in many industries at scale all over the world. It's ruggedized and has long battery life and is really suitable for industrial workers and the tasks that they have to do with their hands. So now that you've had a quick chance to see this, we'll take it off and we'll get right into the presentation. So, remote collaboration with hands-free assisted reality. And what we see in the photo here is one of our customers, Linde, largest provider of industrial gases worldwide. They provided their customers plant and equipment to make industrial gases on site, anything from liquid nitrogen to hydrogen to liquid oxygen to acetylene, or they also ship gases in canisters and containers to their customers. A lot of what they have to do is service this plant that makes these gases. Here's a Linde technician using the HMT1 as part of their field service experience to remotely call an expert back at Linde to coach them on how to adjust this piece of equipment that they may have to work on. And notice all the PPE, the hearing protection, the hard hat, the safety glasses, the gloves, very likely right now a mask. And it's important to be 100% hands-free in this type of environment where your hands are occupied and still be able to control a system and remotely stream to someone who can collaborate with you. It's a very typical use case for the HMT1. HMT1 and HMT1Z1 are the two core hardware products that we have, but we think of ourselves as a knowledge transfer company, not just a provider of hardware. And that platform is really hardware, software, user experience, third-party applications, cloud components, accessories, training services, security services, a lot of different things. That platform allows customers to provide their first-line workers the hands-free in situ information they need and the ability to collaborate with experts for training, competency improvement, productivity improvement, and safety improvement. And that's very much what we'll see through this presentation that our customers are doing. So you saw me wearing the product. Here's a little bit of a quick tour. It is a ruggedized device, waterproof and drop-proof. It has this display that looks like a 7-inch tablet. It runs a secure version of Android 8.1, and it is completely voice controlled, also with a little bit of head motion. And so no buttons, no controllers, no gestures, no cables tethering it to anything else. It's a self-contained device. And this has been established for quite a few years now, almost 3 years since the HMT1 began shipping, and it's been extremely well supported over that period. And so this device can be worn with or without a hard hat and a lot of different types of situations. But as you see, it's very fit for purpose for industrial work. So think of this as the synthesis of a tablet, a rugged industrial tablet, and smart glasses. In many ways, it's like the tablet in terms of the capability, memory, processor, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, but it is completely hands-free. And unlike the lightweight smart glasses, it's more powerful. Industrial products like this don't have to be quite as light. Often they're used with hard hats or they're used with people who are used to wearing PPE. And so that allows us to make it very rugged, very long battery life, very high performance from the point of view of camera, Wi-Fi, speech recognition, noise cancellation, things which are not necessarily so easy to achieve in something that is designed to be as unobtrusive as possible. So not a consumer product, certainly very good fit for industrial use. The HMT1Z1 or 1Z1 is our intrinsically safe product, and it's the only head-mounted product computing device that is certified to ATEX Zone 1 and C1D1 in North America, Class 1 Division 1. This is the higher level of intrinsically safe certification. This means that it can go into explosive atmospheres which are routinely present in oil refineries, chemical plants, pharmaceutical manufacturing, paint shops, and be used with confidence, incapable of causing a spark or an ignition event, even under a fault condition. Because of this unique certification, many of the world's leading oil, gas, and chemical and pharmaceutical companies are our customers. So what do you do with such a device? Well, the number one use case we're going to dive into today is remote mentor, as we call it. Some people call it remote expert. This is really the see what I see, broadcast the live video from the camera that we have to a remote expert who can assist from a distance, be that the next room or the other side of the planet. And to do that, third-party software is required. Now, what this permits is the expert to be able to assist that local technician to do their task, even if that person is not as experienced, even if the expert is not available to travel, and to be able to resolve downtime issues quickly, and to be able to do many other things like remote factory acceptance tests, or remote environmental and compliance audits, or remote safety assessments, or remote training. If you're the apprentice and your teacher can't be with you, then maybe you can do real work as long as they are watching and assisting over a live video call. In fact, you can get certified during the call. Some of the other use cases that we see deployed by industrial customers: digital workflow, step-by-step instructions. It's encoded, knowledge is now encoded into the application. The user can follow along step-by-step by guiding it with their voice, text, video clips, diagrams, any combination of those things, flowchart-based logic. We have a number of software application partners that do this type of software on our HMT1. Video micro-training. Now we used our device as a capture tool. And so the camera is now recording the training material. We find an experienced person who can do this job fully hands-free, show everyone how it's done with their many years of experience. And with the high quality HD camera that we have, completely hands-free operating, we get a first-person view. You can see the employee's hands. They can be manipulating things, pushing buttons, turning wrenches, wearing PPE, wearing gloves, and not have to hold up a phone whilst they make a video that can be, potentially quite long. And the software here will divide this for you into chapters and make it very easy to publish as step-by-step instructions, video-based, that anybody else can now use when they have to do the job. That's really capturing tacit knowledge that may be at risk of loss to the enterprise because of retirements and changing demographics in the workforce, and capture it, make sure that it's being able to be passed on to the younger, less experienced workforce. Document Navigator is a solution for looking at technical manuals. And here we can look at PDFs that are quite detailed. They could be in the cloud, they could be stored locally, they could be synchronized, they could be triggered by QR codes that are scanned from our camera, and those QR codes can be placed on the machine that they refer to. So scan the QR code and look at the wiring diagram, look at the safety procedure, look at the spare parts list, for example, and zoom in with your voice, pan by moving your head around. A very fluid experience for looking at detailed technical documents. Finally, IoT data visualization. This is looking at sensor data coming off industrial assets, such as temperatures and pressures and flow rates. And these things are usually only available in the control room. But now we can put a piece of the control room in the display here and make it applicable to the asset that worker is standing in front of, typically also with a QR code scan, and see the live data. So turn the valve, see the pressure change, don't need to talk to the control room over a two-way radio, do it hands-free. So by far and away, the largest use case that we see deployed is this first one, remote mentor, and we're going to spend more time discussing that. So at this point, I'd like to play an interesting video that features Microsoft Teams being used by Honeywell, and this video was featured in Microsoft's recent Ignite conference.
Honeywell is a technology company. We believe that we need to always be on the leading edge. We're bringing every product to the market faster to improve everyone's life. We build the products and they have to be tested. For COVID, would have a couple hundred engineers all in a facility to do this factory acceptance test. As we went into COVID-19 lockdowns, we couldn't get the engineers here anymore. We just couldn't do it. With the use of Teams and Realwear, we don't have to have everyone in the same location.
The ability for a first-line worker to be at a task, hands-free, reach out to an expert, and they can work through the problem together. And that saves a tremendous amount of time, eliminates travel, and resolves the problem more quickly.
The first-line worker gets down there with the camera to share what the person's seeing at site with the engineers back in the lab.
They can actually follow through the instructions which is guided to them.
So it gives them access to information, much like a pilot looks down at his instruments and then back up into reality.
Everyone else is witnessing, checking, signing off a document. It didn't matter if they were in South Korea, Germany, get everybody connected.
This is actually a game changer. It reduces the time to get the solutions.
It's a bridge between inside of Honeywell and it's a bridge to their customers.
If Teams and wearables hadn't been available, we would have extended our test by months, expanded our cost drastically, which would have put a drastic impact on our customers.
A part plant that's shut down can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. With an HMT1, you've turned your 24-hour downtime to a 20-minute downtime, and that is a huge impact on business.
We have maintained in the Americas every project that we had scheduled during the COVID crisis.
We've been going on this collective journey to the new normal, and thanks to our partnership of Realwear, Microsoft, and Honeywell, it's also the future of industrial work, and that's a pretty exciting thing to be a part of.
I believe what we've proven is that we can now do this a better way. We're looking forward to the next steps and how we can even take this to another level.
Now, I have talked a couple of times already about this term assisted reality. And here we are at the virtual reality, augmented reality event. And what is this assisted reality? Assisted reality is it's in the AR part of that mix between virtual and VR and AR, but it does not aim to be fully immersive. That's not the goal of assisted reality. Why? Well, let's start with an analogy. Let's say that your job is to learn how to fly a commercial jetliner. So you're going to spend many hours in a flight simulator before your airline puts you in a real Boeing or Airbus aircraft. And in that simulator, which is in many ways the original virtual reality, you have a fully immersive, highly realistic experience, which teaches you how to fly a plane. You can learn there, you can do your basic training. The focus there is full immersion. The digital world is everything. The real world is completely excluded. Outside the simulator, you have no idea what is happening. And there's no way that you can hurt yourself, no matter how many times you crash the plane. Now, once you've completed your simulator training, you'll get to go into a real airplane. And there you don't want a fully immersive digital experience. Now you need to have your situational awareness. You have your basic training. You more or less know what you're doing. But you do need to get some specific information like the readings from your instruments or communicating to the control tower. But you need to look out for bird strikes and lightning strikes and near misses and other things that may be happening in the real world around you. So for daily work, being a real pilot, you want your real world focus first and your digital second. And that is the analogy that we use for assisted reality. Assisted reality aims to keep the real world primary and assist you with digital information, not to have the digital world primary. So let's talk about this in the context of safety. A lot of the customers that we work with, safety is paramount. They work in industrial situations. Health and safety is part of the core culture. There are a few different ways that one can build head-mounted systems. Some can reduce safety and some can enhance safety. So let's compare and contrast. First amongst those is the user interface. The user interface that requires hands, whether that be buttons, touchpads, controllers, gestures, is less safe than ones that is hands-free. Much as you don't want to text and drive because that's dangerous, you don't want to operate controllers or have to put down your PPE, your gloves, take your gloves off, or do other things with your hands while in order to operate a device. Those hands are often needed to hold on to scaffolding or to hold equipment that you have to use, electrical probes, wrenches, tools. So hands-free enhances safety. And we do it with voice recognition and some small head movements. And it works at 100 decibels of noise. The second part is, how do you see the world? Now, if the system is designed to predominantly immerse you in the digital elements, then in order to do that, you're going to be typically looking through a waveguide or glass. And that tends to obscure.
In 15 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to rewind to the beginning of this chart. Now let's look at some aspects of safety. Now let's look at some aspects of safety. There are a few different ways to design head-mounted systems. Some can tend to inhibit or reduce safety, and some.
Finish ready in 15 minutes.
Alexa. Now let's look at some aspects of safety. In the design of head-mounted systems, we can either work to enhance safety, or we can come up with systems that actually inhibit safety. Let's compare and contrast, beginning with the user interface. So systems that are completely hands-free tend to enhance safety in industrial environments, just as you wouldn't want to text and drive, you wouldn't want to have your hands occupied whilst operating machinery or using tools. If you use user interfaces based on gestures, controllers, buttons, swipe pads, then you're not hands-free. System based on voice recognition, maybe a little bit of head motion, that's a hands-free system. It's inherently safer. Secondly, how do you see the world? Do we see it through dark glass because we're trying to superimpose holographic elements on the world? Can be very immersive, but it reduces your perception of the real world through that darkening and tends to limit your situational awareness, which is a safety risk. Also, situational awareness is affected by peripheral vision. Many of the mixed reality and immersive systems that we see do tend to have display engines at the top or on the sides, and as such, your peripheral vision is blocked. There may be a forklift truck coming at you from over here, or a crane swinging it from there, or a steam valve escaping high-pressure steam right behind you, and you need to be able to have your situational awareness to be safe. Supporting both of those things is the idea that the display should not take up a large amount of your field of view if you're going to maintain your primary view of the world and your peripheral vision and situational awareness. In fact, we think the optimum point is in the 25% or so range, rather than going for 60–90% field of view as the ideal. And what occurs when you are cognitively in the real world and looking at digital information is a different way of processing information than when you're cognitively focused on holograms. It's a different use case. Furthermore, cables is a consideration. If you have a tethered device and there's a cable going down to your belt, then that can get caught on something. That's a safety risk. No cables, self-contained unit, no risk of that. Eye strain. If you spend a lot of time in the AR world, you'll hear of this phenomenon called the divergence accommodation conflict. It causes eye strain because your brain is getting two different sources of information about the depth perception that you have. One is vergence, whether your eyes are pointed together a little bit, or a parallel, and that's tells your brain how far away the object is that you're looking at. The other one is where your eye muscle is positioned in terms of focusing your lens in your eye. If those signals are in conflict, as they are in many mixed reality systems, it leads to eye strain after a couple of hours. But if you have a single eye system, you circumvent all of that. Protective equipment, we've discovered that customers have a wide variety of different types of PPE. The specific model of hard hat is very important. The specific style of safety glasses is very important. The specific type of hearing protection is very important. It's very difficult to get people to change. So we have worked very hard to accommodate an extremely wide range of PPE. Comfort. You put all these things together, and particularly if you have battery life to match, then you should be able to wear a device for an entire 8 to 10 hour shift. And if it becomes uncomfortable because of its weight or because of its ergonomics, then we'll tend to reduce the safety of the user because of the discomfort. So when most industries think about productivity and safety, they make an inherent trade-off. And some industries will make that trade-off more in the favor of safety and at the expense of productivity, and some will make it more in the favor of productivity because safety is less primary. Maybe it's still important, but less critical. Nuclear power, let's approve everything in triplicate before we turn a single valve. Stocking shelves in a retail store, let's be careful about back strains, but it's not as dangerous. Maybe oil and gas is in the middle. Every industry is somewhere on a curve. Mixed reality improves productivity if the applications are well designed, but as we've seen, at the expense of some safety. But this assisted reality, the sort of system we've been developing, moves to a different curve, and you get enhanced safety combined with enhanced productivity. So we feel this assisted reality style that's 100% hands-free is in fact optimum for a large section of industrial workers. So now I'd like to jump to another video.
Introducing Expert on Demand. Combining the power of WebEx and Realwear's HMT1 collaboration headset. Frontline workers can now request remote expert assistance at any time. Simply using voice commands, they are connected with the right party to solve their needs. Expert on Demand enables you to do multi-party video calling.
Hey Jeff, thanks for joining. I'm here with Alex and we're just doing a quick troubleshooting and thought you might be able to help us out.
Content sharing.
You're able to see that? Yep, I can see that.
And real-time annotation, so you can highlight important aspects and provide detailed direction.
Go ahead and show me the problem right there. This issue here, this curve is too tight. Just move that to right here.
Expert on Demand makes it possible to reduce operational and travel expenses, increase resolution efficiency, and improve frontline worker experience. Empower your frontline with the tools they need, when they need it.
So you can see that Cisco's WebEx Expert on Demand has very robust remote annotation features, letting an expert mark up the field of view, and actually have multiple people do that from multiple devices at the same time, which is, I think, a leadership capability that WebEx on Demand has. So now I'd like to go back a little bit to this concept of wearability, and here you can see some examples of the different types of ways that we can wear this device, between hard hats with hearing protection, climbing helmets, baseball caps, bump caps, head straps, the flex band, which is a silicone strap used in pharmaceutical and semiconductor clean rooms, which sheds no fibers, the work band, which is an extremely comfortable solution for people who don't have to wear any type of headgear. And we can also see here that through the addition of Bluetooth, USB, Wi-Fi, we can connect all kinds of different accessories that help make a complete solution out of the HMT1. You've seen Honeywell in the video, and we talked a little bit about Linda at the beginning. Here are a few more examples of major customers around the world that have deployed Realwear at scale. So these are not pilots, these are not proof of concepts, these are not experiments. Each of these customers has hundreds of devices deployed. The largest one on this list has almost 1,000 devices in service. And they're in all kinds of verticals, from automotive to food and beverage manufacturing to industrial equipment servicing to oil and gas to energy to pharmaceuticals to utilities. And we really feel that this is the year when, because of COVID and because of all the work that was done prior to COVID, we've seen this major acceleration in commercial deployments at scale versus several years that came before of pilots. And I think we're truly past that phase into a scaling phase in this industry. I'd like to play my third and final video to close. And this video features our customer, Italgas, in Italy. Italgas is the third largest gas provider in Europe, the largest in Italy. You may remember that Italy had a very severe lockdown earlier this year. But even before that, in December, we were able to deploy our HMT 1Z1 intrinsically safe product. And that deployment has grown to over 300 devices at the current time, both during and post the pandemic.
Hi, how can I help you?
There's a pressure problem in plant 99.
You should bypass the flow by closing valve 11.
And thanks to our great partners over IT with their product GeoCol 9, which was featured there. And it's an integrated system that includes field service management, work order management, asset management, and remote collaboration with access to documents and all of the scenarios that you saw there, all in one combined application. Just shows what can be done with hands-free assisted reality. Hope you enjoyed the talk. Please reach out to Realwear at realwear.com if you'd like to talk to us and hear more. And really appreciate your attention today. Goodbye.